So the bishop sends me up to this little church in South Bend, 40 people, Broadway United Methodist Church in South Bend, little church. And we had a food pantry in the church. We were the social service church there in that low-income neighborhood on the city's southeast side. And people would come to us, and when they came to the food pantry, we got government surplus food. So because we got government surplus food, we had a government surplus form we had to fill out. And the form said, how much is your income and how much your expenses? So, you know, we'd get people fill out forms and say, well, my income's $600 a month and my expenses are $1,000 a month. Well, we're a little congregation. What can we do with that? We can't do much with that. We couldn't do something for one person with that, much less. So we just put it in a file cabinet because we couldn't do anything else with it. Well, we came to Pentecost in 1992. And at Broadway in South Bend, we would have worship. And then every Sunday morning after worship, there was a lunch downstairs for whoever wanted to come. So after Pentecost worship, we were downstairs. And whatever table the preacher sat at, you could come and talk about worship that day and the sermon that day. And we're sitting there talking. And this woman says, her name's Janet. Janet says, you know, you said this morning that Peter, reading from the book of the prophet Joel, says God's Spirit flows down on all people, young and old, women and men. And I think, how good am I? It's a half an hour later and she remembers what I said. I'm awesome. And I said, yes, that's right. And she said, so how come we don't treat people like that? Oh. I said, what do you mean? She said, when people come to the food pantry, we ask people how poor they are. If God's Spirit has flowed down on all people, isn't that true for people who show up there? Yes. So when people, we changed. And when people started coming to the food pantry, we didn't ask people anymore how poor they were. We asked people how rich they were. And we asked people 10 pages of questions about how rich they were. Now, people didn't really believe you want to know, but you get halfway through 10 pages, they're starting to believe maybe you're serious. So we asked people, have you taken care of older folks? Have you taken care of children? Or have you done it because you're members of your family, because you're working somewhere, because you've been helping a neighbor out? Can you fix a toaster? Can you drive a car? Do you play a musical instrument? Do you sing? Have you cooked for more than 10 people? Have you cleaned up after more than 10 people? You know, if you grow things, do you grow flowers? Do you grow vegetables? Do you play a musical instrument? Do you sing? I mean, just everything you think. And we ask 3 questions at the end. What 3 things do you do well enough that you could teach somebody else how to do it? What 3 things would you like to learn that you don't already know? And who besides God and me is going with you along the way? Well, one of the first people who came to us was a little woman about this tall named Adele Almaguer, lived half a block from the church, 3 generations of her family, and needed food. And she said she was a good cook. So we said, prove it. She said, what do you mean? Cook for the custodian, secretary, and the pastor, lunch on Friday. So she cooked for us. We paid her for us. It was fabulous. So leadership of the neighborhood organization was meeting. We said, don't meet somewhere else. Meet here at the church and let Adele cook for you. So she cooked for them. They paid her for it. They loved it. Over the next 9 months, Studebaker Elementary School in our neighborhood had a parent-teacher meeting. She cooked. They needed food. She cooked for it. Southeast Side Neighborhood Health Center had an open house in our neighborhood. They needed food. She provided it. Memorial Hospital in South Bend had a press conference in our neighborhood. They needed food. She provided it. Then the Chamber of Commerce called. We want to have an all-day meeting of our leadership program in your church building. And we said, well, that day works. You can meet here. And they said, since we're going to be there all day and we have 70 people, we need to use your kitchen. And we said, well, you can use our kitchen, but we would prefer that you use our caterer. And they said, okay. So we took $20 and bought 1,000 business cards. They said, La Chaparrita Catering, spunky Tex-Mex food. And she fed 70 of the business and civic leaders in the community. They passed out her business card to everybody there. Through that, she got connected to the Michiana Businesswomen's Association. And a year and a half later, she opened up Adelita's Fajitas at the corner of 8th and Harrison in Elkhart. Wow. Now, if we had asked her when she showed up, if she had showed up 2 weeks early, and we had asked her, how poor are you? We would have all ended up poor for it. And we would have missed a lot of great food. We base everything we do on this idea that God's abundance is blossoming around us all the time. just bubbling up all the time, that it's there in the places that people don't think it is, that people least expect it, and that where the world says it isn't there. In John 10:10, Jesus says, I came that you may have life abundant. It doesn't say when your pockets are full. It doesn't say when everything's all right. It says life abundant right here and right now.